welcome back.
Thank you. You look nice.
Well, I had to dress up for you. So, having multiple films, I mean, you're becoming like a Sedona icon. How does that make you feel?
Well, I feel as if I'm a member of the family now. You know, I felt great being here when we were shooting Sedona, the movie. What was it, 2.5 years ago, almost 3 years ago, I guess. Because then the film festival happened, and then I fell in love with everybody. And now being back, I can't believe 2 years has gone by.
And that means next year you've got more to do.
Yeah, I've done a bunch of independents, so I'm going to tell them to submit them all here to the festival. Because I know the big guy, you know.
Now, did you tell me about this project? What did you like the best about it? Did you like being, how shall we say, the not so nice person?
You're talking about Any Day Now?
Yes,
I
am.
I like playing that role of the judge. Well, it was an interesting situation, of course, because I love the script. I love what it stands for. I love the fact that it peeks into the origins of discrimination. Gender equality was not even addressed back in the 70s. And the judge is supposed to be fair and balanced. And the director, Travis Fine, said, we don't want you to give away your prejudice against this couple because you're supposed to be a judge and, you know, weigh both sides. So it was an interesting line to walk during the filming of it. And I liked the takes he took because we tried a lot of different ways of, you know, playing a line, you know, overruled or sustained. A lot of ways to play something as simple as that. But he didn't want to show what she was really feeling inside until the last, you know, until her judgment. You know.
It felt good, didn't it?
It felt good?
Yes, to be able to get in touch with your familiar roles, but isolate it down into holding it all off until the end.
Yeah. Well, I think he did a really good job at editing all of the characters, distilling their essence without making them look as if they were stereotypes, you know. And I mean, one guy kind of bordered there, but you could see their humanity because when they all got that letter at the end, you could see how they reacted. It's like, oh my God, look at what my actions have brought. And maybe that's the beginning of their awakening.
You were just speaking before we got started, actually, about some upcoming projects. I couldn't help but notice how many films you have currently in pre-production, post-production. Can you speak a little bit about what you have coming up?
Oh my goodness. I know, you went on my IMDb, right? And it's like, oh, pre-production, post, it's like all this stuff in red.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, some of them should be coming here to Sedona. Right away, well, let's see, I just did the makeover where I played a Southie. It was a takeoff on the Pygmalion story, except it was set in Boston. And I played the father who was trying to get a little something for the transformation of my son from a beer vendor to a politician. Well, that's in the past, though. Okay, what's coming up? I have an arc on Touch, which is Kiefer Sutherland's television series, and that should be happening this week, actually. I have an arc, which means it's like 5 episodes, so you get to find out what kind of character is really behind all the stuff going on that show.
You're smiling. It must have been fun.
It was fun. It was fun. And then The Host is a film that's coming out on the 29th of March. It's the beginning of a trilogy written by Stephanie Meyer, who did the Twilight series, a book series now. Instead of vampires, it's about aliens. But these cute little fuzzy aliens that go into the back of your head and take over your personality. But there's peace on Earth. Everybody has enough to eat, and everything should be copacetic, except that there are There's a tribe of humans hiding out in the desert who don't want to be inhabited by these alien beings. And William Hurt and I play brother and sister, and we're the head of that tribe of people.
And this is later this month, this is coming
Yeah,
out?
at the end of this month, yeah. And I'm imagining it's probably going to be pretty big with the kids, because when I tweeted that I had just gotten the host, this is last year around this time, I got all these people back from Argentina and Russia and all the countries in South America and Australia saying, "Oh, we love it," So cool. All these kids are into it.
I want to see it. It's a good synopsis you just gave. That's intriguing. Okay.
Yeah.
Steve?
Yeah.
Is it me, or is it where we are in humanity? There's an awful lot of transformative films being made about consciousness shifting. Marianne yesterday delivered that great talk. Do you have a scarf that she gave you that obviously you cherish? Mm-hmm. So is that just a perception of mine, or hopeful thinking, or is that really happening?
Well, that's an interesting question, because we create our reality. And if you are of a mindset to heal yourself, transform yourself, awaken, then you will call into your environment other people who are awakening too, right? That's the way it works. If you think a good thought, good things come to you. If you're walking around grumpy and, what do you see? You see grumpiness. So I think it's all up to the individual. Personally, for myself, I feel as if there is a quickening, which is what Marianne spoke about yesterday. Things seem to be moving faster. And I don't know if it's just because it's my age, because there's an interview. As you get older, life is like a roll of toilet paper. The closer you get to the end, the faster it goes. So it could be that, or it is that there's more communication. We're learning more about the world, and we have it instantly on our little pads. And also, I think that there is an awakening. You know the 100th monkey theory, right? The more people who awaken, it creates a resonance, and more. It's like synapses in the brain. This group of people over here is awakening, and over here they will awaken without even communicating, because we're all connected. So I think that was a roundabout way of saying yes. I think it is you, and it's me, and whoever else is awakening. And the people who aren't here. Or maybe they will be.
Thank you.
Oh, you seem to like science fiction by guest starring on shows like Eureka, Torchwood, and just other shows. But do you want to star in your own sci-fi show in television?
Oh golly, I wish you were a studio executive. Yes, I would like to play a lead in a television show. It wouldn't necessarily have to be a science fiction, but I came from the theater playing leading roles. And when I started doing film and television, I felt as if I had to start at the bottom for some reason, because I started late. I started my career in film really when I was 36, which is kind of over the hill. But I didn't realize that, because I came from the theater, and I figured I'm just going to work the rest of my life anyway. So I felt as if I've had a little catching up to do in the film department or television in terms of leads, but there's always next year.
Answered your question?
We hear all the time about studios and executives and what they think about piracy and torrenting, but we rarely hear from actors what their opinions about the piracy thing. What are your views on piracy and torrenting? Are there any benefits?
What is torrenting? I haven't heard this.
It's the same thing basically as piracy is.
It's like going online and then taking a movie illegally.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and then downloading it like forever until you get the whole thing.
Yeah, you can put it on your drive.
Yeah. Well, it's I mean, stealing is wrong, right?
Mm.
I mean, that's a basic thing. Morally, it's wrong.
Mm.
And the same thing also, I can speak for the music industry and for all my friends who are musicians, that when something is pirated, it hurts the artist, because as little of a residual that we get for that work, it takes more away from us. And artists, as you know, are kind of at the bottom of the barrel in terms of who makes a living in this country, in the world. I mean, there are few people who are elevated to a status where they are rolling in it, but that is, 0.1% of people in our business. Musicians, while I'm at it, I mean, to see that teachers and firefighters and soldiers and policemen make such little money when they are the people who are taking care of our children, taking care of sick people, taking care of our people in need, and safety of our environment. And it's just amazing. And to think that people who are in office buildings and pushing money around are just rolling. I'm thinking about the sequester right now, okay? It's shocking to me that our country is not honoring the middle class, because I think that's where we all come from. We're all hardworking people who deserve a chance, deserve health care, deserve child care. I'm just ranting on, all right? This has nothing to do
You're not
with
ranting, it's good.
Alan?
You can
Regarding-
cut all this, right?
Regarding what they were saying about piracy, let's go on the other side of the spectrum. Since now everything's evolving digitally with social media, and you do tweet, I mean, spreading the word electronically, do you see the value increasing of spreading it globally? You're doing it right now. Do you appreciate all the distribution, like through YouTube, showing little trailers, so the people who are not locally around can actually catch a glimpse and entice them even more to want to see what you do?
Well, I understand what you're saying. Everything is revolutionized, right, because of technology, and we have to go with that flow. I mean, going back to piracy, I know I was on the board of Screen Actors Guild when all of this was beginning, and we were trying to figure out how we are going to be able to monetize every time something is played on television, because we used to get residuals. An actor would do a show on television, get paid for it, and when it reran in the summertime, remember those days?
Mm-hmm.
One rerun was in the summer. We got a little bit of money for it. Now with it being rerun on the internet and being YouTubed and everything, there's no way to monetize it, so they say. So we lost that. So everything that is out there, actors are not getting paid for it, except that one shot, unless it's on network television, and it does rerun once, but on the internet, forget it. Anytime you download something from Netflix, we don't get anything in our pockets for that, because the studios made a deal with Netflix, and we get maybe 0.25% split amongst the cast for one download, which means basically nothing. So one has to accept that. And then on the other hand, the way you can get yourself out there, like you were saying, all the different ways of communicating with people directly now is something that never happened before. People can be a little bit more in charge of their publicity, or not, given TMZ and things like that, So it's a tricky world we're in now. I think we just all have to be on our best behavior all the time.
And be awake.
And be awake, yeah.
This is borderline personal, and if you don't want to share it, that's okay. But you were speaking about the politics just a moment ago, and I'm sitting here thinking, what was your take when Clint was speaking to the chair. Did you see it at the convention? Did you?
I was cringing.
Okay.
You know, for someone to stand on a national stage, and it was really a global stage, and insult our president in the way it was, putting nasty words in his mouth. That's what bugged me. To dismiss the president of the United States in such a way, I thought was made me cringe. It was not a respectful thing to do. And while I'm at it, the Academy Awards. I don't know what's happening in this country. I remember I used to watch the Academy Awards and I used to think, oh, I can see that movie actor as themselves and not in character. And that was all good and fine. And there were some wonderful moments of Charlize Theron dancing and Barbara Streisand and Goldfinger.
Shirley Bassey.
Shirley Bassey.
Yeah.
Oh my God, these fabulous moments. And then there's this juvenile singing "I Saw Your Boobs." I'm going, this is the Academy Awards. This is the highest honor given to people in our industry for work they've done, and it's diminished to like something that I don't even think the Golden Globes would stoop to. And not only that, the women he was singing about are fantastic actresses. Some of them played characters who had been raped. And the unconsciousness of that just really, really bugged me. And the other thing was when he made that horrible joke about the sweet young girl in Beasts of the Southern Wild who's 9 years old now. She was 6. What an amazing performance.
Yes.
And to make a lewd joke about how she, in 15 years she'd be too young for George Clooney. And all of our minds went there. And I didn't see her face in that reaction, but it was just so in such poor taste. I was shocked.
When I was watching it, I was thinking to myself, we talk about irreverent humor. Humor is a big topic with me today for some reason. And we talk about irreverent humor, and I'm like, but irreverent humor loses its edge and it's no longer entertaining when we lose our reverence. If we don't have reverence, then there is no irreverent humor.
That's a very good point.
And Seth MacFarlane being invited to host the Oscars, I think there was a certain amount of we were expecting some of it, but it was. I agree with you. It's the classiest night of the year for Hollywood, and
yeah, the irreverent humor is there's like a little tongue-in-cheek thing and a little twinkle in your eye.
Mm-hmm.
It's not something that cuts and makes people groan.
Right. Or
that
cringe.
there were my friends who made The Invisible War, which is a documentary about rape in the military.
Mm-hmm.
They brought 2 of the survivors of their rapes by their fellow soldiers. They brought them to the Oscars because the documentary had been nominated for an Oscar. And they were so thrilled to be there. And for them to have to sit there and see this guy on stage singing about "I Saw Your Boobs," and that horrible thing, the thing about the teddy bears talking about the anti-Semitism, all the Jews running Hollywood, and I was like, this is to what end? To what good? To make people cringe and make other people say how, and then the denouement. Listen, I can't believe I'm speaking like this.
That's great.
You're with friends.
All 100 million of them.
I'm sorry, but what does Michelle Obama have to do with the Academy Awards? The highest honor, the greatest moment at the Academy Awards is the unveiling of who we voted for Best Picture. And then there's something on television, and then it's the First Lady, and I'm going, where's the president? And it was obfuscated by what? And I thought, well then, of course, in the beginning though, the television star, you know, what's his name in William Shatner, I didn't understand what that was about. It started, anyway, I'm sorry, I shouldn't complain, but you've got me here.
No, it's an insider's view of the,
I didn't know where they were going. It seemed desperation for ratings.
I think it's a Nielsen thing.
It is, and you know,
Guaranteed.
the unfortunate thing is that they were 3 points up from last year.
Yeah.
Shocked.
So I'm afraid that there's going to be more of the same.
Steve?
What does this have to do with now? There's some thread there, though.
It's justice
insulting.
and injustice.
Justice and injustice, yes.
Respect
Okay.
and disrespect.
We'll go with that.
Respect and disrespect, and just thinking about the repercussions of your actions. That's what it is.
There you go.
It's like all these people. The judge says no. The second judge, Alan Ration, says no, and everybody just like sticks with their own little thing. I'm going to get you, and I'm going to stick with my ideas because I'm raising my kids the way. And then you realize you've hurt somebody, and then what do you do? So I hope that the people who are choosing the show next year think about all that, because they certainly got my letter and they got Jane Fonda's blog. Oh yeah.
I think what we can surmise from all of this is, even though that you've been expressing yourself, it would lead into your film, because instead of judging, it's just taking in evidence and how we've evolved and actually digressed at the same time, and what weighs more. There's no envelope needed when the writing's right on the wall.
Uh-huh. Well put. You should say that on camera.
I don't look as good as you,
There's
so I
not
stay
an
behind.
envelope if the writing's on the wall. I mean, we're still struggling, and again, it's about, okay, where am I being judgmental? Okay, I was offended, I was hurt for my friends. Now how do we move forward and educate and not speak down to them? And try to lift them up, right, to be educated.
Onwards and upwards.